Hello everyone, welcome to Homeschool Autism Life. My name is Jamie, and if you are new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you are not new, thanks for coming back and spending time with me. I am a homeschool mom to 3 kiddos. My eldest is a boy named Darian, and he has autism. And then I have 2 typical developing daughters, Nara and Ceana. And this is the first year that I have homeschooled all 3 of my children, who are quite diverse in their needs and what they are capable of, and I am just so thankful to be able to say that we are surviving. This video is 3 things that I could, looking into it, that I could improve my homeschool, and 3 things that I've accomplished in my homeschool. So it's something that I encourage everyone to do at the end of the year or at the beginning of the year, because I think that it is such a great exercise to really look into, just take it apart, if you will, and go, okay, what could I improve on? Not in a negative way, but in a positive way. What can I improve on to make our homeschool run more smoothly, or any number of things that you can think of. And then what have I accomplished? What is something that I can put a stamp on and say, you know what, done, dusted, way to go. And it could be as simple as, we finished. So the first thing that I would like to improve on in my homeschool is organization. It's organization. I had quite a chaotic year, as I'm sure many of you in 2020 had, and then deciding to homeschool full-time for 2021 was a good step for us. But I have found over the months, as I accumulated more books for the units that we were doing, or brought in new curriculum for next year, which I'm going to have a new video out in a little bit about what we're doing for next year. I am so excited to share that one. But it's just, there's too much stuff, and I'm drowning in it, and I need to really get a handle on it. But I'm also finding that I don't want to jump into that organizational process, because I know that it always gets worse before it gets better, because you have to take everything out, lay it out, and organize it and whatever, and I just don't have time. So we're going to finish the year out. I'm going to grit my teeth and get through the rest of the year till the end of June, and then I'm going to just pull everything out of cupboards and get rid of things that I don't need, and hopefully I have a harder time doing that sometimes, because I'm like, well, I could use this later, and I'm like, yeah, I've got to figure that out, because the room that we do homeschool in is also our dining room. It's also my art studio. It's like, it is all things at all times, and it's always being used. So yeah, organization is a really, really, really big thing that I want to get on top of and organize, because I'm noticing it filtering down through everything else. So number 2 is recording more consistently, or being more consistent. So some of the extracurricular aspects of our homeschool, the history, doing crafts and stuff like that, has kind of gone by the wayside. And I think that has a lot to do with the organizational stuff, because if you're not organizing, or if you're not organized well enough and every surface has something on it, then it's not as easy to get to everything that you need, and so then it becomes more of a hassle than it's worth. Same thing with consistently writing down what we are doing. I have found that to be more difficult, because my organizational, what's the word? My brain. My planner, haha, I found it. My planner sometimes has like piles on top of it, and so I'm like, I just don't even want to deal with it. I know I did homeschool with my kids. I know I did this, that, or the other thing with Darian, so it's done, I did it, and I don't need to worry about it. But then 2 weeks later, you go back and you're like, didn't I do stuff that week? So I really want to be more consistent, and I think the organizational part is key to fixing that particular issue that I'm having. And then the last thing that I want to do is, kind of be more intentional about my morning routine. Again, because of the chaos of this year, me having hysterectomy and having to recover from that, and then all the things that happened in between all of that, it was really hard for me to find a stable routine. And I want to get a little bit better at getting up at the same time, as opposed to going, okay, I'm tired and I'm just going to spend another half hour in bed. Yes, there are going to be days where that's going to be necessary if we've had a really bad night, but in the grand scheme of things, I want to just be a little bit more consistent so that it's not so loosey-goosey when we start and when we stop school. I want to be a little bit more consistent about that. So the things that I've accomplished, the first thing I want to celebrate is that I accomplished homeschooling my 3 kids for the first time. I'm just going to celebrate that all by itself. Homeschooling was never something that I dreamed of doing since I was a kid. It was not something I had any experience in, and it was something that I really felt God kind of pushed me in both times. And I can say God is faithful, and He was with me, and He allowed me to succeed at that. But I think in that I have to give praise where praise is due, because it was not my idea. But we survived and we did it, and I feel accomplished. I feel that they did really well, and I'm really excited about the next coming years as I get more and more comfortable in this space. The next thing, if you have been around my channel for any length of time, you know a little bit about my Ceana. She had issues with her eyes and needed eye therapy, and I will put a link down below to that for those of you who haven't. But we were told by her past teacher from the school that she was in, who's a big fan of hers, and we love her to pieces. If she could have gone through all of her school years with that one teacher, she probably would never have come home. But she said, she's like, just prepare yourself for the fact that she may never like to read. She might always hate it. And what I'm really proud of, what I'm really happy with, is that because of the way I approached things, the research that I did, this isn't because I'm some kind of brainiac, but the things that we did, she does things like, we went and got library books. They were all graphic novels, but they have words, so they count. But I got her 5 books or 4 books that are all graphic novels, and she was done with all 4 that same evening. Like in 2 hours, she had gone through all of them. This child who was like, you put a book in front of her and she would run the opposite direction. Now she like flies through these graphic novels and looks at me and goes, I'm done. And I'm like, well, you have them for 2 weeks. But it wasn't something that I forced her. I wasn't pushing her into. I just said, I got you your library books. She sat down at the kitchen or the dining room table and read them in I was just so super excited about that. So, again, it's not because I am so awesome or whatever. It's just that I'm really, really pleased that she has gotten over this fear of having to read and look at a book. And I think that's the beauty of homeschool, is to be able to say, okay, we're going to stop at this line that you're at, and we're just going to encourage you instead of, having to move you on to bigger things, because that's where the other children are. You can take your time to sit in that space and allow them to get comfortable, and then they can move forward at their own pace. And I love, 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 love that. I think that if she had stayed in school, she would still have the difficulties with reading, because that wouldn't be allowed. Reading just graphic novels would not have been accessible to her. So the last thing that I wanted to say was, I am really I think I've accomplished the ability to recognize the things that are my children's strengths and my children's weaknesses, and have really learned to adapt to meeting them where they are, kind of like Ceana's reading. But also, you know, I've recognized that while my daughter Inara, who is the second child born, she is a ferocious reader. She reads novels like, you know, nothing. She loves doing that. But when it comes to writing a book report or writing her writing projects or whatever, she is very limited, and she's very much her father's daughter, where it's like, if fine will do, if you ask me how I'm doing and I say fine and that'll do, then I'm good with that. With writing projects, you have to be a little bit more elaborate. And so I've really been in noticing those types of things. And so in the curriculum video coming up, you will see how I've already been learning how to compensate for that and allow that to be a part of our homeschool as well, just filling in that gap. And then for my Darian, this year 2020 was a very hit and miss for him. And then when I had my surgery, it was like school was very hit and miss for him, just because he does need a lot or all of my attention to keep him focused on the task at hand or whatever it is that we're doing. And so I've been slowly building up the consistency of, okay, we do 2 of these lessons and 1 math every week. And so I think that that's one of those things that I've accomplished, in the fact that we are able to recognize those things, and then hopefully we'll still be able to build upon those as we move forward. So that's my list of the things that I could improve my homeschool and the things I feel that I've accomplished. I hope that you have enjoyed this. I really encourage you to do the same thing for yourself, because it's really nice to have clear-cut goals, and also to recognize that this is just a journey, and the journey that we're on, it isn't about being perfect, and it isn't about just I failed at this, like negativity. It's okay, I need to do better at this, and if I'm better at this, then I am even better as a homeschool parent, and my children benefit from me being confident and happy in the job that I am doing. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you're watching to the end, you guys are rock stars. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this has been an encouraging video for you. Take care.